Imagine this. You're standing outside, and the sun is dipping below a jagged horizon of hills you don't have a name for. There's no glow of a streetlight anywhere. No phone buzzing in your pocket. No porch light flicking on by itself. Just you, a fire that you have to keep alive with your own hands, and a darkness so complete that you can't see your own fingers. What did people actually do once the sun went down 40,000 years ago? We picture cavemen hunting mammoths in the daylight. We picture them painting bison on cave walls. But the sun was only up for maybe 10-12 hours a day. That leaves 10-12 hours of darkness. Every single day. So what filled that darkness? Was it just fear? Just huddling together, waiting for the sun to come back? Some researchers argue that the campfire, not the spear, not the wheel, is the real birthplace of human culture. Stone Age life was built entirely around the rhythm of the sun. There was no artificial lighting worth mentioning. Fire existed, and it mattered enormously, but it was expensive. It cost fuel, it cost attention, it cost risk. During the day, Stone Age humans hunted, gathered plants, made tools, traveled, cared for children, scouted for danger. It was an exhausting, physically demanding existence that used almost every waking hour just to stay alive. But when the light started to fail, everything changed. It changed in ways that shaped the human brain, human society, even human religion. Let's start with the most basic problem. Darkness was dangerous. Try to picture it honestly. No moon that night, maybe. Cloud cover. You are essentially blind. Human eyes are adapted for daylight vision. We don't have the reflective layer that cats and nocturnal predators have. Cave lions, cave hyenas, wolves, leopards, saber-toothed cats. Many of these animals thrived in the dark. Nighttime was their hunting hour specifically because it put humans at a profound disadvantage. This exact vulnerability is why humans developed such an intense, universal fear of the dark. The nervous ones, the ones who felt that prickle of unease and got back to the fire, they lived. The very first thing that happened after sunset was a recalibration of behavior. People stopped moving. You didn't wander from your camp once darkness fell. You stayed close. You stayed together. That single behavioral shift created something daylight didn't naturally produce. Forced togetherness. Let's talk about fire, because fire changes literally everything about this story. The controlled use of fire goes back at least 1 million years, with strong evidence pointing to sites in Africa. Maintaining fire required serious knowledge and effort. You needed fuel, and it wasn't always easy to find. If a fire went out and you had no reliable way to relight it quickly, you were in real trouble. A fire created a circle of light in an ocean of darkness, and warmth in temperatures that could be brutally cold. It created a mandatory reason for a group of people to sit in the same spot, facing each other, for hours. Anthropologists who study modern hunter-gatherer societies, like the Jew/Hoansi of the Kalahari, notice something remarkable. During the day, conversations tend to be practical. Complaints, coordination, gossip, negotiations, criticism, argument. But at night, around the fire, the entire tone of conversation shifts. The talk turns overwhelmingly toward storytelling. Daylight was for daytime business. Darkness was for something else entirely. It was for imagination. In a world with no written language, no books, storytelling was the only method of transmitting knowledge across generations. Everything a community needed to survive had to live inside memory, passed from the old to the young through spoken word. A dry list of facts is easy to forget, but a story sticks. It has characters, consequences, tension, a lesson. Researcher Polly Wiesner spent years recording exactly this pattern among the Jews-Hoansi people. Nighttime conversation was richer in storytelling, more relaxed, more likely to include humor and singing. This nightly ritual may have functioned as social glue, reinforcing bonds across a wide social network. Religion, mythology, history, moral instruction, identity, a huge share of human culture may have first taken form after dark. Let's slow down and sit inside that Stone Age night for a moment, because the sensory experience was overwhelming. No artificial light pollution means the night sky would have been staggering. The Milky Way would dominate the sky. The earliest known star charts and lunar calendars, carved into bone and ivory, suggest people were watching the sky. The sounds of the night were constant: wind, insects, distant owls, and the occasional bone-chilling howl. Every snap of a twig, every rustle in nearby brush would carry weight. You couldn't know if it was harmless or dangerous. This sensory pressure likely sharpened human hearing and pattern recognition in ways daylight simply didn't demand. Here's something that might surprise you. The way Stone Age humans slept was probably not the way you sleep tonight. Historian Roger Ekirch found overwhelming evidence for something called segmented sleep, or biphasic sleep. A first sleep after dusk, followed by a period of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night, then a second sleep. That middle waking period wasn't a problem. It was just normal, a natural part of the night. A famous 1990s sleep study placed participants in extended nightly darkness, and their sleep spontaneously reorganized into this pattern. In the deep middle of the night, some of the group might have been quietly awake at the same time, perhaps whispering. Of course, it wasn't all storytelling and peaceful stargazing. Someone had to keep watch. Complete collective sleep would have been an enormous risk. Communities likely practiced some form of rotating watch. Younger, fitter adults might take the most demanding watch periods through the night. The fire itself required tending constantly. Wood doesn't feed itself into flames. A fire that went cold in the depths of an ice age night could be a genuinely life-threatening failure. The after-sunset hours were structured, managed, shared. A society organizing itself around getting everyone safely to morning. Now here's a detail that tends to blow people's minds. Humanity's most extraordinary cave art was created in total darkness. The painted caves of Lascaux, Chauvet, Altamira were reachable only by firelight, deep inside winding cave systems. These weren't paintings near a cave entrance. Some required a journey of hundreds of meters through narrow, twisting passages. Archaeologists found the light source: stone lamps holding animal fat and a wick, alongside burnt torches. Soot smudges on cave walls show where torches were rubbed to reignite them, or knocked to brighten the flame. Someone decided that the image of a horse, a bison, a lion, mattered enough to crawl deep underground to paint it. These deep, dark spaces may have held ceremonial or spiritual significance specifically because of their isolation. Did Stone Age humans have anything resembling religion or spiritual belief connected to the night? Burial practices dating back tens of thousands of years suggest belief systems concerning death and an afterlife. Darkness as the realm of the dead, of ancestors, of spirits, of the unknown, appears as a near-universal theme. Rituals, initiation ceremonies, shamanic practices overwhelmingly happen after dark. Fire ceremonies, trance dances, chanting. Darkness strips away the visual world we rely on to feel oriented and safe. It heightens imagination. The campfire wasn't just physical protection from predators. It may have been a kind of spiritual protection too. Let's think about this from a child's perspective. Sunset meant the end of wandering, the gathering of the whole group. This would have been childhood's primary classroom, listening night after night to the same core stories. That universal childhood fear of the dark likely has ancient roots reaching back to exactly this environment. After sunset didn't mean the same thing everywhere. Winter nights across Ice Age Europe could stretch 16, 17 hours. In deep winter, well over half of every day would have been spent in darkness. That's an extraordinary amount of time to fill with something other than physical survival tasks. Necessity, in this case, may genuinely have been the origin of some of humanity's earliest cultural flowering. We weren't the only ones dealing with all this. Neanderthals lived through the same nightly darkness for far longer than we have. Evidence of controlled fire use and burial practices is well established at Neanderthal sites. Structures found deep inside Berniquel Cave in France, made of broken stalagmites, date back roughly 170,000 years. This challenges the old image of Neanderthals as dim, brutish creatures incapable of symbolic thought. So why does any of this matter now? We have electric lights and smartphones bright enough to read by. We can be awake at 3 a.m. scrolling through more visual stimulation in 10 minutes than an ancient month of nights. In a very real sense, we are still those people. Our brains were shaped by hundreds of thousands of nights like these. That lingering unease in a dark room, that instinct to want light nearby before you relax. These aren't random. They're inherited. Sleep researchers point to artificial blue light at night as a genuine disruptor of the natural sleep signals our bodies evolved to expect. The shared communal fire has been replaced by individual screens, each person absorbed in their own private stream of content. Some anthropologists wonder whether this shift is contributing to feelings of social fragmentation and isolation today. So let's return to that image we opened with. The sun dropping below the hills, the last light fading from a Stone Age sky. What happened next wasn't emptiness. It was one of the richest, most consequential windows of daily human existence. It was the birthplace, quite possibly, of religion, of myth, of the earliest human art. It was a time of genuine danger, requiring watchfulness, requiring a fire tended through the long hours. Every single night, for hundreds of thousands of years, this cycle repeated. Sunset, gathering, fire, story, watchfulness, rest, sunrise. Something genuinely remarkable took shape. Not just survival, culture itself, meaning itself. The next time you're sitting around an actual campfire, and the conversation naturally shifts to stories, remember, you're not doing anything new. You're doing exactly what your ancestors did every single night for longer than we can really comprehend. The sun goes down, the fire gets lit, and something in us, something very deep and very old, still knows exactly what to do next. If you found this genuinely interesting, sticking around for the next one would mean a lot. Thanks for watching.